Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And wow, what a special time we had last weekend for SilverFest. So many great people, speakers, analysts, companies involved. I feel truly blessed to have been a part of it. And fortunately, everything was indeed recorded. I know we've had a lot of questions about that, but it was recorded and we are starting to share those now. So to kick things off, here were the opening remarks from SilverFest by yours truly. Hope you enjoy. A lot more to come in the coming days and week or so. And with that said, here are the opening remarks from SilverFest.
I think it is officially the beginning of SilverFest, and welcome everybody. I'm going to put our stage chat up here so I can see the comments. If you're just logging in, where is Chris's dog? Silver Dog, come on over here. You should have seen Nibbles after the meditation. He looked pretty relaxed. So good morning, everyone. Win, great to have you here. Paul, welcome. Good to see you've been a Silver Bolt ever since 2012. And everybody else who is logging in, I guess now as we're getting started. Nibbles with a B, Tim. Welcome to SilverFest 2020. It's quite an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you. Gee, I don't know, I ever imagined, at least when I started learning about silver back in 2009, that this is where it would end up. Although, I guess where this came about is that over these years, and especially this year, it hit me where we have all of these gold events and precious metals events and conferences for everything that happens, and it just felt like it was time for something for everyone in the silver world. I think quite a bit about how, it takes a bit of a special mindset and profile to be involved in the silver space. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's come to be quite a part of my life, and this all began in 2009, but especially what happened in 2011 was something that really opened my eyes, and I didn't know how to get away from that. I've wondered at times, is it time to go do something else in life? Yet the story was so fascinating. What's happening is so fascinating. And then being fortunate enough to do the show and also the big Silver Short book has just been nice to cover this with so many people and talk to people each night about silver, and now to be able to host SilverFest. So welcome on in. It is nice that as we're doing this, silver actually moved after we started planning it. I believe this was still about 17 or 18 bucks a couple months ago when we started planning SilverFest. So nice to see that the price has finally moved. We're seeing movement in things after a tough 9 years for a lot of people, for a lot of businesses, a lot of investors. And as we will cover quite a bit today, I don't think people who saw QE2 coming and bought gold and silver in response, I don't think you were wrong. As we had Bart Chilton confirm, as we've had the Department of Justice confirm, maybe still not too much action from the CFTC, but people were cheated. It was a crime, and it's not necessarily the way that I would set it up, but that's what I've tried to point out through Arcadia, through the show, through the research that I do, that it wasn't a matter of wanting to sit here and talk about silver manipulation endlessly, but I think there's a lot to be said for just accepting things as they are. I think that's what was helpful for, at least for me, with meditation, where, you know, the way we grow up and we're cultured, we're trained to think of what's going to happen next week, an hour from now, tomorrow. And similar with trading in the financial markets, there's what's happening now. And sometimes I find, as I've gone through my investment career, that's the challenge. There's what we think should happen, what we want to happen, but there is what is going to happen, which isn't always what we think is fair or just. You know, I mean, as we'll have several of the speakers talk about throughout the weekend, I mean, the evidence is there. To me, it seems pretty clear. The Department of Justice has made it clear. The CFTC, I mean, they fined Bank of Nova Scotia. What they're fining these guys and getting guilty confessions for continues to happen regularly. And certainly I get the emails, I see the comments, I talk with as many of you as I can. And I can understand that frustration. Although how do we respond perhaps is really the key. And, you know, I've seen both sides of it. As some of you know, I've had an interesting journey in this past decade where when I left Wall Street, everything that I had was in gold, silver bullion, mining shares, or options on mining shares. Now, I'm not giving that as advice. I think I'm starting to learn the idea of diversification. I was also trained as an equity options trader where, you know, it's like similar to playing poker. If the better you do of accepting the situation for what it is, or that metaphor where they say, you know, balls pitched somewhere and a single is what you can do, you do that, you know. But when the opportunity comes and you can crush it, or in poker metaphor, there is a time to go all in. So I was what I was trained to do. And I say that just to point out, you know, the magnitude, the extent of, at least from everything that I've studied and seen, that if there was ever a situation that warranted something like that, steal home plate. Yes, Tim, we'll figure out how to do that. But if there was ever a situation that warranted that, I think it's this. All right, so I was a couple of years early, and I mean, you know, there was some losses I took there, although I don't know that I look back and regret that, because that's the nature of this situation. It's going to go when it's going to go. And I find as much as we can shift the mindset away from the frustration of JP Morgan's doing this, or the CFTC fell asleep on that, that's out of our control. But what I like to focus on, and certainly we'll dig into, and we have some incredible investors and speakers and analysts who will be sharing their thoughts on it, is that you can structure your investments. It doesn't have to be something where there's no answer. And again, partly why I mentioned the background, as I was leaving Wall Street, in the meantime, while I had things invested in gold and silver, I also figured that I was going to find a way to start a business. So there was that time period before income was coming in that, yes, every time silver is down $1 or $2 on heavy volume with no fundamental explanation. It's, you know, and I've had those days where I'm, you know, wanting to pound something or swear or not fun to be around. That's, again, one of the areas where meditation has helped, because, you know, I guess if there's some situations people are in life, you know, where, yeah, you want to see the price go up today, yet to the degree, if you have a business or you have income coming in and you're able to buy an asset and you can buy more of it at a cheap price, to me, what it comes down to is, at the end of the day, how confident are you in something? And perhaps in my studies of Austrian economics, what allowed me to feel so comfortable and confident in the long-term thesis of silver and gold was Ben Bernanke, Jerome Powell, Barack Obama, George Bush, Donald Trump, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, you look at the way these guys do things, and it's like an angry married couple. I'm guessing there's probably not a ton of people in here who look at the way this political system is set up, the debt loads, the Fed, and say, yeah, I'd love to invest in a business run by these guys. I mean, it's like everyone often, not everyone, but people often think, all right, well, what can I do? The government's going to do this and that. I'm powerless. There's some degree to which maybe we can't decide what they are going to do, but 10 years later, a bunch of thinking about it, and I guess it's one of my new favorite bumper sticker plans. And actually, we have someone who made up a hat, which hopefully you'll see today. So if you don't like government, buy silver. Buying silver, I mean, I think of it almost, it's essentially like a synthetic way of shorting government. So if you see that stuff and you're like, wow, I wish there was some way to short that, or basically make a bet that these guys aren't going to get their act together. That is what gold and silver, one of the things that they represent to me. And certainly you are allowed to talk about gold at SilverFest. Platinum conversation also extremely welcomed. Palladium talk, good as well. Any of the metals, anything that you'd like to talk about. Obviously, we're focused on silver, but that doesn't mean that has to be exclusive to that. Perhaps if there was anything that I would ask of each and every person that is here at any point this weekend, more than anything, is just to have fun, enjoy. Certainly the panels, I think that you'll get some great information from some great market participants, analysts, not just silver, but people who have studied financial markets, brilliant speakers and students of the markets. And fortunately, you'll be able to interact with a lot of them. And hopefully we'll have some of the speakers coming into the Arcadia Lounge, also the various booths. But even aside from the speakers, the real thing that I think is the real win here is that you get to meet other people who have studied a lot of the same things that you have, and who understand a lot of the same things that you have. And so all those days where you turn on CNBC or Bloomberg and you're thinking, what planet are these guys from? Or when you hear Jeremy Powell and Fed jokes, highly encouraged. I got some silver here to give away. So any Fed jokes, JP Morgan jokes, allowed, welcomed, and encouraged too. Let's just keep them, don't go overboard, and let's have fun with it, but keep our energy focused on being positive, supportive to each other. Because, like I was saying, if you ever wanted to meet other people that get the same things, if you felt like you're the lone wolf in your hometown and you go out and you try and talk with people and it's like, anybody else see the debt? Does anybody else get this? Well, you're in the right place. And I would like to mention, as we get ready to talk about, there's David Morgan calling. I hope that means he's up. I didn't realize when I scheduled him for the State of the Union Silver Address, it's a little bit early Washington time. Yara, perhaps you could check in with David and let him know I'm on the main stage right now. David will be coming up in, I believe, 10 minutes. So David Morgan, the silver guru, who is going to be here all day today, I believe all weekend, but excited to have David on board and excited to be here with everyone. And I guess just to wrap up what I was saying, there's a lot of ways to meet people. You're in the main stage right now, but if you see those buttons to the left of your screen, there's the reception, You can see the schedule there anytime you want to look up what's going on. The stage button will bring you to the main stage here. Sessions, you may have to check with Yara what that one does, or just click it and find out. I mean, that's a good way. Although networking is interesting. It's a feature you can set up, just be connected with someone at random, talk with someone for, I believe it's 120 seconds. And fortunately, if anyone's a little nervous about meeting strangers, I would suggest that the majority of the people that are in here are really good, kind, interesting people to talk with and who understand, you know, just log on. Hey, I'm Chris. I came here today because I got into silver because of this and that, or just say, hey, how are you doing today? You having a nice morning? And I find that good strategy in general in life when you approach things like that. Are we having live SilverFest next year? Of course we are, Hollis Rule. In fact, if I had driven through Nebraska earlier than the other day when I was leaving Denver, there's no masks. You can walk into a restaurant. So yes, in fact, I don't even know if I'm going to wait till next year's SilverFest. In fact, it's really been encouraging the support of all of you out there and who are supporting the conference. And we have over 2,000 people signed up now, which is truly incredible. And, you know, it's one of those things where just once you get started and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. We could, you know, pick a spot. Definitely want to do the silver cruise. So I know some of you might not be ready to get on a ship together, but we're going to do a ton of fun stuff. I feel truly blessed that I've been able to reach as many people as I have. And so many of these ideas that I used to map out and have in notebooks, maybe the real home run. One day we'll get a nice piece of land and we can have a place where we can all live like normal people without the assistance of Ben Bernanke and Jerome Powell. So anyway, oh wait, Nick, what did silver say when it saw gold walking across the street? AU. All right, Nick, that's a half ounce right there. You're getting Nick Braglia. Sorry if Braglia. We'll make it sound a little more sophisticated. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. You can log on and tell everyone, hopefully at one of the booths. Yes, that is right. Silver mining trip to Dolly Varden. That sounds fantastic to me. David Morgan is in. I am in, Chris. What do I do next? David, you want to get the backstage access link from Yara. Yara, if you're listening, can you email that to David so he can log in a couple of minutes? Kia Pruitt, yes, I have you marked down for a free silver ounce yesterday. Make sure you get your address to Yara. You can email Yara, Y-A-R-R-A, at arcadiaeconomics.com. or through the button in the upper right that looks like a little envelope. I am writing down all the silver I give away to make sure it gets to the right people. Please feel free to help me, but we're going to be giving away silver all throughout the weekend. Miles Franklin, Andy of Miles Franklin, who you see every Saturday night, he is in the Miles Franklin booth, and he has a bunch of ounces ready to be given away. So there's no set way to win it. Just have fun, enjoy that we're here together, and you never know when announcer Kennedy Half will find your way. Nick, what did you want me to do? If you can email anyone who wins an ounce of silver, I'm writing it down. If you contact Yara at Arcadia Economics, Y-A-R-R-A, or message her through the system here, your address. So if you're in Canada, if you have someone who can be custodian in the US, apparently it's, or we'll find an easier way to ship it. Who knows? So just get your address and we will get that sent out to you. So yes, Kia, you did win an ounce. And other thing I wanted to mention real quick, someone mentioned Dolly Varden. I mentioned Miles Franklin. The last tab down there is the expo. you can actually open another browser and see that simultaneously while I'm talking here. First Majestic is here. I know I'm seeing lots of questions about a $78 million Canadian deal by Eric Sprott to invest in First Majestic. So they will be here. Keith will be joining us. Keith Neumeyer, CEO of First Majestic, who was also in the big Silver Short book. He will be joining us. He's got a presentation and on one of the panels today. First Majestic will be at their booth today. Todd Anthony and Mark Carruthers, both good friends and good guys, and be happy to answer the questions you have. So you can log into that booth. There's a video chat there. Silver Elephant and John Lee, who you heard on the show a couple of weeks ago, they have a booth as well, and you can find out about the silver they're rounding up. There is the SilverFest information station, and also Silver Sands with the great Keith Anderson, who was on the show earlier this year, and we'll be giving away some silver in there, as well as Dolly Varden, Sean Kunkin, who was on the show earlier this year. So some companies that I think are going to make absurd amounts of money with the rising silver price. And again, it's great that they will be here. You can answer, get your questions answered. Miles Franklin is here. Rob Keens of goldsilverpros.com, who many of you know, will be in his booth taking questions. Also, Alex Newman of the Liberty Sentinel. Scott Craig of the Silver Independent. Jimmy Morrison, who you saw, some of you saw his movie last night. And then the last booth there, the great Dr. Jim Willey. I know a lot of people excited to talk to Jim. He popped into one of the rooms last night. And if you've ever wanted to ask Jim Willey your questions, well, you're in the right place. Keith Neumeyer is also a rock star. It is true. Keith Neumeyer is pretty awesome. You'll notice he was the only mining executive in the big Silver Short book. Really because as soon as I got into silver back, again, 2009, maybe it was a 2010 or 2011 when I started becoming more familiar with him. But once I started seeing that there was something not normal about the way this market was reacting, and you know, Keith was one of the early ones talking about that long before anybody else was. I mean, Ted Butler at the same time, GATA, I might add, are also all attending and will be speaking. But Keith, you know, and I think it's interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to do quite well financially because of the company that Keith has built. Although what I think is interesting and I imagine will happen is that I think there's a different component even outside of the money where, and I'll speak for myself, certainly appreciate that Keith spoke up in a position that's not really easy to go out and say those things and speak the truth. But Keith has opened a lot of eyes, similar to how Ted Butler and Chris Powell and Bill Murphy and Dave Kranzler and David Morgan and everybody else who is here. Paul Lim, I did invite Chris Dwayne, and he's going to be here for the is either the Hunt Brothers or Warren Buffett tomorrow. So again, you can take a look and you click in the reception. You can see the schedule of everyone who's going to appear. Jeremy, these sessions are being recorded for viewing later. We're aiming to get everything eventually up on the YouTube channel. And I don't know, maybe we'll make some pack where, you know, if you just want to have it all lined up in one place, we can put that together. So anyway, perhaps last comment before we bring the Silver Guru on for this State of the Silver Union address, which I think is going to be a lot more insightful than whatever politician is dishing out the State of the Union address. Again, we have the speakers. I'll be here. I'm happy to answer any questions, although I really want to thank each and every one of you that are out there that have made this possible. The companies that are here that have made this possible, the speakers, but again, each person that is here today, I thank you for being here. I'm honored that you're spending your weekend with us. And if I may ask one favor, just have a great time this weekend. So thank you, everybody.